in the workshop again, back from the South Island. I would say the sunny South Island, but it was cold and rainy some days and quite windy, but it was not a bad trip at all. It all went pretty well. 3,800 kilometers covered. And of course, as luck would have it, the ferry made it across the channel. It did, across Cook Strait to the North Island. And here I am back home. I got home on Thursday night, around about 6:30, I think, from memory. So it wasn't too late. It was good. I had a nice early start on the Thursday morning, hit the road and got all my trips, my drop-offs done and collections done and bits and pieces. I had a couple of places to call in on the way through. And yeah, all in all, very happy the way things went. But here I am now back in the workshop. Friday, I spent about half a day unloading the ute, the pickup truck, with all the various bits and pieces I collected during the trip. And in the afternoon, I fitted the tyres to the wider heavy-duty rims for the little trailer. So that was pretty productive. More on what I did yesterday, which is that, later in the live stream. Right, let's get logged in and find out who we've got in the workshop. And it's pretty cold this morning. That's not me smoking a cigarette, that's how cold it is. Right, here we go. Sorry I didn't put a title on the live stream. They changed the format again, which it was to do with the orientation of the screen, but they put a new icon on it, so it makes it a little bit easier. Okay, let's just get rid of that. We have got Mr. Rawl. Good morning, Simon. Welcome back, sir. Great to have you on board. The Giants. Good evening, Andy and crew. How is everyone doing watching from South Africa? Everything's not doing too badly, really. Yesterday was a long day doing that. And Ben is in his workshop this morning, busy beavering away. He was up just as early as I was. Oh, don't forget you can join the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel now as well. Just ask me. Now, so many adverts going on down the side of chat. What have we got? Nut Basden, morning all. Good morning, Nut. Welcome back, matey. The Giant, South Africa is very cold as well. Geez, Scott. 2 thumbs up. Good morning. Good morning, Scott. Welcome back to the workshop. Now, we do have a pie for today. I'm pretty sure we've not done it. This one is Oxford pies. I thought they'd gone bust, but I was wrong. These guys are still going, I believe. But it's been rebranded. Very different sort of style to the packaging now. And this is a nacho cheese and beef. Sorry, nacho beef and cheese. It's too early in the morning for me. Nacho beef and cheese from Oxford Pies, made in New Zealand. Big size, big taste, so they say. So we'll find out very soon what that's all about. Oh, now, I've only got 2 cigarettes left. So this is going to be, I'll warn you now, a 1-hour live stream. I've got to get packed up. I'm going to let Ben pack the workshop up. I've got to get loaded up into the ute, get up to Auckland, and catch an airplane over to Sydney in Australia. I'm over there for a week, 5 days, come back on the Friday, hopefully, doing some training, and I've got meetings and all that kind of stuff over there. So it's a very busy week again. And other than these sort of 2 days that I've been at home, 2.5 days you want to call this morning, then I'll have been away from home for basically a month with only a couple of days at home. So it's pretty full on, to be honest. And last night, Mrs. Mechanic chewed my ear. She did. She said, do you really need to do a live stream in the morning? Can't we just stay in bed a bit longer and chill out and relax, and then you can just get in your ute when it's time and drive to Auckland? And I said, well, I can't. I've promised the viewers that I'd do another live stream. So it's all your fault and my fault. We've got to share the blame. But man, I got into some trouble last night. She was pretty adamant I didn't have to do a live stream. So that's dedication for you. That's where I'm coming from. It wasn't a fun night last night. She was... Anyway. Kevin, morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, Kevin. Welcome back to the workshop, sir. Hopefully your workshop's a bit warmer than mine is. I have no heater on this morning. I did think about doing it, but I forgot, to be honest. So we'll mosey through. And besides, when I get in the ute, I can crank up the heater and we'll be all good to go. Oh, an update on the ute, the Ford Ranger 2018 model, I believe it is. I've noticed on this last trip to the South Island, regularly I have to pull over at the side of the road and take phone calls. That's part of my job, to provide support to the network, so to speak, for technical assistance and so on. And obviously I'll leave the engine running because it'd be cold and I want the heater to work because the call could go on for quite some time. And a couple of occasions when I've pulled off back onto the road, obviously you're busy looking in the rearview mirror to make sure there's no cars coming and stuff. There's been a bit of a plume of blue smoke, yes, from the exhaust when I've pulled away. So the poor little Ranger, I believe, is starting to burn a little bit of oil. It's not overfueling, it's not black smoke, it's most definitely blue smoke. It's not white, there's no problems with the coolant system, it's just getting a little bit oil hungry, I believe. I've not checked the dipstick yet, though. I've not checked the engine oil level, so maybe I should do that before I go to Auckland. But yeah, it's a 15,000 kilometre, 10,000 mile service interval on that vehicle. And I've got about another 2,500 kilometres to go before its next service point. So it's probably getting a bit low on engine oil. But they never report that kind of stuff when you get the vehicle serviced. They never say, hey, you were a couple of litres down or a litre down or half a litre down on your engine oil when we changed it. Just keep an eye on it. It may well be starting to use some oil. They never give you any feedback like that. And that's a main Ford dealership. In all honesty, we've talked about them before. They're not very good. They aren't. They've made many, many mistakes over the years. One of them, actually, I'm not sure I've talked about it. They did a warrant of fitness for me on the vehicle. And as you know, on the back of the ute, there's a canopy over the tray. And that canopy is held down to the vehicle with a ratchet strap at the front. There's a couple of eyelets that are fitted underneath. So there's a ratchet strap at the front. And at the rear, there's two of those metal twizzly things, that reduce in length when you turn them. I don't know the official name for them. Stainless steel, they're very nice. I bought those a while ago. And the reason why I upgraded the way that it's held down on the ute pickup truck is because sometimes I load things on the top of it. And there's a rail that goes round that I can put ratchet straps on. And I regularly put things on there. It's very, very functional and extremely useful. Anyway, I took it for the warrant of fitness, and the guy goes, I have to fail it. And I said, why would you fail it? He says, because the accessory, i.e. the canopy cover, is insecure. And I said, well, what do you mean it's insecure? I said, the original design or method of holding it down is 4 little tiny M6 or 6mm bars with little hooks on them, and you turn a little knob and it just tightens them up. And it clamps around the edge of the tray. Pretty feeble and certainly nowhere near strong enough to have any kind of load on top of the canopy. It only really would hold its own weight. And that's one of the reasons why I deleted those. But the other reason was 2 of them were already broken. So it was down to 2 of these 4 little clamps. So I thought, no, at times, I need to get this fixed because it's going to fall off. And I didn't want to go out and buy a new one because it's expensive. And of course, I wanted to load stuff on the back. So it all sort of worked out really well. And I said, look, consider this, Mr. Warrant Guy. And I used to be a warrant inspector. That item is held down with a ratchet strap and 2 twizzly things. Why don't you consider it as a load rather than an accessory? So I could say to you that that's not permanently on this vehicle, which it isn't. It gets taken off sometimes. And it's actually for somebody else. And I'm busy taking it to them now. And it's a load because it's held on with a ratchet strap, and it's also held on with these twizzly things, which you also use to hold down loads on vehicles. Anyway, he would not have a bar of it. He was like, no, it's a fail. He was really quite aggressive. And I said, well, hey, listen, there's a really simple solution to this. And he looked quite confused. I said, look, we'll just take it off. I'll undo the ratchet strap, undo the twizzly things, lift it off. I'll put it in the tray as a load. So I'll just drop it down on one side. And then it's no longer your problem. And he went on the computer and he started looking things up in the VERM, as they do. And then he came back and he goes, So he had to pass it. And while he was busy writing out the warrant ticket, I then put the calendar back on and tightened up the ratchet strap and the twizzly things, and we were all happy. The world was right again. But he was a little bit short-sighted. He could have considered it as a load as opposed to the vehicle's accessory. Such is life. That's what I have to deal with sometimes. Anyway, where did we get to? Simon should have missed the live and spent time with the good... Don't back Mrs. Mechanic up. Maybe feel bad now. Yes, I could have done that, and I could have let my viewers down, of course. I'm going to have about half an hour, I think. If I finish at 9:30, I'll have about half an hour before the wheels have to roll. I need to allow 4 hours to get to the airport. It's usually about a 3.5 hour drive, depending on traffic. I need to allow an extra half an hour because, you know, I'm going to be parking miles away. I've got to actually walk to the airport. There's no buses and stuff, so I've got to cart all my gear. Got to take a helmet and jacket this time and gloves and stuff as well, so there's a bit of gear to carry. And of course, things can go wrong. You know, I've got to check in no later than 2 o'clock. So, you know, international flight, you've got to have at least an hour's check-in time. So, it's the way it is. My sincere apologies, Mrs. Mechanic. You know, I am sorry. Wasn't my idea to go to Australia, but anyway. Richard Perry, morning, Andy and crew. We've got the GB flag and a thumbs up. Thank you very much, Richard. The Giant, is the Ford a diesel or a petrol? It's a diesel. Simon, if it runs away with the engine oil, get the camera out. I will, most definitely. Be quite a sight. Pop the bonnet and get the, you know, start filming and wait for which we can place bets on which rod's going to fire out first, can't we? Simon, done that one. Sorry, Scott, the blue smoke is engine speaking to you. Change my oil. Change my oil. I know it needs an oil change. Maybe when I come back, I've got a week off. So I come back from Sydney on the Friday, and then I've got the weekend, the whole following week, and the weekend off. So I've got 9 days, and I won't really be going anywhere, so it's not going to be clocking up much K's. And then I'm back up to Auckland the following week. So I'll give them a call and I'll get it booked in for a service a little bit early. How's that? I think that's probably a pretty good compromise. Nigel Cheshire, morning. Good morning, Nigel. Welcome back, or welcome to, in fact, because I don't recognise your name. Welcome to my little workshop. And we'll have a little tour around very shortly. Quick slip of coffee. I am saving the cigarette, by the way. Holy crap, that coffee's strong. Right. So, real quality ingredients, it says at the top. This is an Oxford Pies. Big size, big taste, it says on there. And it's a nacho beef and cheese made in New Zealand. We're going in to camera, Andy, to camera. Dum, 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 dum. So we'll get this in the pie warmer, and then we'll go and look at what I was working on yesterday. Most bizarre project. A Benjamin project that he wrote me into, which is fine. It was a bit longer planned than we originally planned, but anyway, more time. So anyway, it's pretty good underneath. Nice and smooth, like a baby's butt, that one, isn't it? Super smooth, no cracks, no nothing on there. And the top's pretty stable as well. And as regards the lid being glued down, pretty good. Put this puff pastry on the top though. Okay. I'm going to turn you round. We'll go and stick this in the pie warmer and do a little tour of the workshop and see what I've been up to. 3, 2, 1. Boom! It worked. There we go. Okay. And we're off. We have the pie. Keep it in focus. Look at that. Professional or what? Okay. Pie in the not very clean pie warmer. Look at the state of it. Okay. Pie is on the obligatory 23 minutes. It's come out of the fridge. It was in the freezer. It defrosted last night, so it's up to fridge temperature. It's all good. Pretty standardized start temperature. Now, where do we start? Don't walk around too fast, Andy, because YouTube doesn't like it. Okay, so we have here some brackets. Yesterday. Very badly painted, by the way, because I was tired last night. But it doesn't matter. The paint's pretty irrelevant. It just stops things from rusting. So we've got that one there and that one there, and then we've got a box of bits. So what we can do is I can go and fit one for you and try and give you an idea what this is all about. So give me a second to get things set up. I'm not too sure if this tripod will do it. It will. I think we're big enough, so we can move that around like that. There we go, we're in shot. Get a pair of brackets. Now, you've got to guess what this thing is. It's a Benjamin thing. Now, what size is that one? That's the right, that's the left. We need that one. Okay, we need one of them, one of them, one of them to start off with. Now, obviously, this mounts to something. There's a pair of them, and there's an axle that goes across here, or did. So we had to modify it to work with something else. So it goes that way around. This might be fun with the paint on it now, actually. It may not fit. Oh, there we are. We're on. So that goes on there with an M8. These aren't the final nuts. These will be nylocks, by the way. This is just for ease of assembly. So that goes on there like that. Can you see it right? I think you can just about work that out, can't you? Okay. Now, this will be fun because it has washers on it. All right, so this piece here, you've worked it out already, haven't you? This piece here sits over the top and pivots like this. All right, so let me just try and get this put in place with the washers, because I can then leave it built up for Ben, and then he'll be able to copy the other side when he comes to assemble it. Oh, look at that. That was well done, wasn't it? Okay, so I'll put the nut down there. And it turned out to be quite, it might look simple now, but actually working it all out on my piece of cardboard was great. Right, I need a little flat screwdriver or something. Bear with me. A pokey stick. How's this for live on the tools? It's not very rare we do live on the tools. Right, we'll just get Mr. Second Washer in position. There he is. We'll poke him through there. Nice. Now, you'd be thinking, Andy, these holes are going to wear, there's no bearings. Don't panic, all right? Don't panic. It'll all come clear. So by having those two little washers, it takes up the plate, but it also stops all the paint getting ripped off as well. And that now pivots across. Now, we also have, you'll recognize these as the handlebar clamps on motorcycles. And there's two pairs, one for each side. This is the left side, which is correct. Now, these are threaded, but there is ability to put a lock nut on the back, although it'll stop it from turning. It doesn't need to turn very much in angle, and you'll see why shortly. So Ben might decide to fit lock nuts. I don't know. I think this one was slightly out on the distance, not sure. Okay, so that basically goes on there. Let me just get my little gun and we'll fuzz that up. Boom, 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 boom. Where's my gun? Oh, not that one. There he is. Live stream on the tools. Who would have thought? Okay, so we just buzz that in like that. Oh, that'd be loud. That'll wake you all up, won't it? Okay, you've got the idea. So, now, the reason why we've done this, hopefully you can see this okay, is the width a bicycle goes here, okay? And the width of the rear of the bicycle can vary. However, the axle, which runs through here, and of course the equivalent on the other side, is going to be straight. So as this widens up, these will pivot inwards to keep these both parallel to each other, these brackets. So that was the plan. Ben's modified it's got a very different kind of axle on the bicycle, and it's got some, I haven't got the axle here, it's on a bike now. It's got like a nylon bush that's got bearings in it that rotates, which allows the axle to pivot like this on the back of the bicycle, where the trailer can go up and down on the terrain. Obviously, it's also got a pivot at the back here, which allows the side-to-side movement. So my task yesterday was to come up with an ingenious way of modifying it to allow the attachment to the new style axle. So that's all done. What we'll do is we'll get the other bits from over here and we'll put them on the bench for Ben. He can assemble the other one. That's his job. So he's got all the bits, all the nuts and bolts, and it worked out to be a perfect clamp. When this is around the bush, there's still a little tiny gap between the two clamps. There's plenty of, you don't want to over tighten it, hence why we want the lock nuts on the back, you see. Now, the second part of the task was Ben wanted a larger rear wheel. The original wheel is about, I don't know, I think it's a 16. This is a 20-inch rim. So we had to move the wheel back. So I had to fabricate up this additional piece. The original wheel used to bolt about here somewhere. There was some brackets sticking off the back of this little feeble box section. This is about the smallest stuff I had. So across it went, made a little hanger at the back. And of course the axle goes in from underneath. So when you hit a bump, there's no chance of it sliding out. And that all went pretty well, actually. It was getting to about 5 o'clock when this finally got welded up. And then he says, oh, why, you need some extra bits. So we put some additional bits and tied it across to the front. If I can go down there, look, you see, underneath. Because Benjamin, he has an inherent problem of overloading things all the time, which is fine, but he does tend to take too much stuff with him whenever he goes anywhere. So I wanted to beef this thing up a little bit. So Mrs. Mechanic, her task today is to clean all this up. She probably doesn't know this yet. She's going to clean all this up and paint it with the CRC bright zinc spray. So we'll stick that over there as well. So they've got that. And then Ben will chuck a tyre on the rim and get it all set up properly. But that took me, it looks crazy, doesn't it? It took me all day to do that. Most of the day to do this end, to be fair. But I wanted to get it right because he used to have another one of these that had I think it had 2 wheels on it. And it lasted about half an hour and he broke it. So I wanted to produce a proper type connection. Obviously the only weak point now is the feeble bit of frame here, so the frame might break. And also another weak point is down here, look, these little thin brackets. These are about 3mm plate, so again there's no gussets, there's no additional support. So it may be after this trip that he's doing with this bicycle, with this bike outfit, these might bend a little bit. We just don't know, but if he overloads it, they will. If he sticks to his 35 kilograms, is that what it is? Yeah, maximum load 35 kilograms, not 50, not 100, 35. But I reckon it'll do the trick. I think he'd be quite happy with that. Right, let's close some drawers up. Don't need those anymore. Oh, nearly. Right, back to the bench. Time for a cigarette, I think. Okay, turn you around. 3, 2, 1, boom. There we go. Now, Mrs. Mechanic said to me, what's the quality like? It's not too bad, is it? It's not great. Hopefully it'll come back. See, it doesn't like wandering around the workshop, does it? Because there's a lot more movement. It has to dumb down the quality a little bit. But it should bounce back. Apologies, but I thought it was important to have a look at that. Okay, then where we get to Wade Mayer. Morning, Wade. Welcome back to the workshop, sir. Howdy, says Wade. Well, howdy to you too. Nigel Cheshire retracted. Jim Haynes. Good morning, Jim. I did hit the like button, but need to listen on the way home from Langley Speedway in Hampton, Virginia. Well, very nice to have you back on board again, Jim. Really appreciate it. And welcome back to my little workshop. Simon, the arrow on your lathe. Do you run it in reverse? In reverse. What? Oh, that was, yeah, sometimes we do because we cut from the other side, but not always. I spin it both ways, but yeah, I think that was put on for, I don't know, a video at some point, and I've never taken it off. What's Ben's trailer for? Well, Ben is an avid cyclist. He likes to do his mountain bike, and he's well into e-bikes as well. And he's planning a trip, an up-and-coming trip, very shortly, with Mrs. Mechanic for her birthday. I can't say how old she is because she won't like that. But it's one of those milestone birthdays, so you can guess. You're pretty sure you can guess, right? You know how old I am. So you've got a pretty good idea. And I believe this expedition that they're planning which starts not too far from here. Actually, there's a trail. It's a mountain bike, e-bike type trail thing that they do. Something that I don't do. They're going to be camping, so hence the trailer to carry some of the camping gear and spare batteries for the e-bikes and probably a petrol generator to charge. I don't know. Whatever Ben decides to do. I'm only joking about the generator. I have mentioned it a few times. Says no, I'm not doing that. That defeats the whole purpose of an e-bike. Might as well be on a motorbike. Exactly. Anyway. Hell, coffee's going cold already. So yes, that's what it's for. Ben's been he basically he's built up an e-bike yesterday, had a broken frame, so he tigged all that up in the morning. Took him a while. Oh, that was Friday. He was tigging all that up on Friday. That's right. And then yesterday he assembled the bike. Now, Mrs. Mechanic did do a hyperlapse of Ben building a bicycle, an e-bike, from a bare frame to a finished bike yesterday, which is really cool. So I do hope, I'm sure she'll put it on her channel, that's the whole idea, but I do hope that I can steal that and I'll stick it on my channel as well. Just so, because I'm sure it'll help a few people. There's no audio to it, we'll just put a bit of a tune in the background. But it does show the whole bike being built and the first ever video to be produced in Benjamin's workshop. How cool is that? So you'll get to see a bit more around his workshop. We should get Ben to do your little workshop tour, actually, of his shed. It's nearly finished. It's very cool. He's done a great job with it. Lots of storage, and it looks nice, and the floor's great, and it's got plenty of bench space. Obviously, it's always going to be work in progress. Every workshop is work in progress. This one's settled down quite a bit now. Ben's will continue to change for the next couple of years, I'm sure, until he gets everything exactly how he wants it. And it's still not fully sealed up. There is a bit of I've got some doors to make, which are access onto the roof of this workshop. And there's some little gaps to fill in around the top, which not a problem. The rain can't get in, nothing like that. But the damp can. So if it's a real misty day, of course, it's a bit damp in his workshop, which isn't ideal. And I said, well, your tools, and they're going to get rusty if we don't seal it all up and that kind of thing. So he's going to get around to doing that in the next few weeks. But yeah, that's what the trailer's for. It's pretty cool, actually. It wasn't cheap, to be fair. I think Ben paid, he said they're about 500 New Zealand dollars new, which is a lot of money for what it is. And he paid 150. And of course, we've had to modify it extensively to suit his aims. Could we have made our own? Absolutely we could. Would we have got round to it? Probably not. But we certainly, if that doesn't work, then I think we need to build our own. I'll build a trailer from scratch. We can probably use some of the parts off that I've already made, and then just make up the central frame and make a stronger pivot just there, which I believe is going to be the weak point on that trailer now. So I started that yesterday about 8:30. I think it would have been. I'd have been out in the workshop, got it all cleared out. We had a pretty early start. And then we had morning tea. We had a very early tea. I had bacon butty, very nice. Thank you, Mrs. Mechanic. And then so I probably lost about maybe an hour during the day for breaks, and the rest of it was just on the tools. And I spent quite a lot of time designing it and working out how I was going to do it the best way. I didn't want to. Initially, I didn't want to weld anything to the hitch area. I wanted it all to be bolt-on, because that way it can then be used on a standard bicycle as well with a standard axle. With all he needs to do is take the bits off again, and away he goes. So he's all good. If I'd welded it on, it would have made it specific to that axle, which could be a problem. Oh my word, what have we got here? Simon, if Ben puts some camphor tablets in with his tools, it will help stop the rust, was told by an old timer. Works too. Really? Oh, they absorb the moisture, do they? Okay, I'll take a picture of that. Thanks, Simon. Looks like the quality's come back. Thank you, YouTube. Appreciate that. I will pass that on to Ben. I'm pretty good in here, to be fair. We don't really have any damp getting this workshop. And this morning it was distinctly warmer in here than it was outside. So it doesn't get as cold in here now, that's for sure. Certainly helps with all the, the old on top of the original roof of the workshop now, it's full of stuff. I know it's supposed to be an air gap. And there is still some air gap in some areas, but Ben's taken to using that as a storage zone. Yes, which isn't really a problem in the winter time, but come the summertime, it might then get real hot in here again. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how he goes. But there's probably about, I reckon there's about 2 tons of stuff up there now on top of my beams. And, well, I'm sure they're strong enough for it. I do need to finish putting all the bolts in though. There's a few bolts that I've not finished putting in. And one of the legs over there isn't even bolted to the concrete wall yet. So that's a bit of a worry. Tessifon. Hello, Andy. Have a good Saturday. I missed many Saturdays today. I got you. I'm happy. Have a question. How to test alternated diode. I tried to see your video, but didn't get it. Okay, well, don't forget, a diode only allows current flow in one direction. So on your multimeter, you should have a diode test, and then you'll be able to put your multimeter on there, and it'll give you a reading in one direction, and it'll do open circuit in the other direction. That's basically it, really. Quite simple. It is all in the video though, and if it's an alternator, then I think you've got, is it 6 diodes? Depends on the alternator's layout, but I think it's 6 diodes. Bridge rectifier. And all it does is it converts a alternating current to a DC current, direct current. Connor K. I made it, Connor. I did. I've saved a little bit for you, just in case you popped in this morning. Connor says, morning, Andy and crew. And Connor, obviously with all the ferry sagas going on at the moment, when I was getting on the ferry at Picton, it was supposed to be a 2:15 departure. We didn't leave till 2:45. It was half an hour late setting off, or departing. Embarking is probably the right word. As I was driving up to the ramp, the guy's like, "Ooh, stop, hang on, stop." And I could hear his little radio going. And it was either the captain or somebody else. And they're like, "Whoa, we've got a 1.5 list to starboard. We can't sail like this. You need to sort it out." So what they were doing is trying to get more vehicles to the other side of the ship, boat, ship, ferry, whatever it is, to level it out so we could actually set off. It didn't instill much confidence, in all honesty, given the fact they'd already crashed one of their boats. Yeah, not ideal, to be honest. But saying that, the crossing was pretty quick. It was a lot quicker than, I think we must have had the currents going in the right direction, going the other way. And we pulled into Wellington. What time would it have been? It was about 10 minutes ahead of schedule. So they'd really put the hammer down to get us there and keep the whole thing on schedule for us. I had to then go off and collect some magazines for Mrs. Mechanic. She'd bought some crafting magazines. And she didn't tell me how many there were until I was heading directly to go and pick them up. And in fact, no, she told me how many there were when I was in Picton. That's right. 200 magazines. 200 crafting magazines. Guess how much you paid for them? Go on, I'll let you guess. Anyway, inside the ute, on the back seat, I have all my tools and overnight bag. Well, the overnight bag was in the front passenger seat, and it was just full of tires, all the trailer tires and stuff. And I'm thinking, where the hell am I going to put 200 magazines without them getting wet? They couldn't go in the tray because the tray was full of parts, absolutely packed full of parts. And there was no real room in the cabin area of the ute anymore anyway. Not for, 50 magazines, fair enough, but not 200. So I had to go and get a couple of big plastic boxes with lids and stuff, and we put them on top of the tray. Strapped them down and things. Got on, they were empty at this point in time. I bought some duct tape as well, and just to seal the boxes up. And then went to go and pick these magazines up, and man, there were a lot of magazines. So I managed to get them all in one box, which was good. Filled the box full. I thought, well, if I try and pack them all in one box, at least they won't slide around and get all crumpled up and things. So I put them all in one box. Got the lid down, put some tape over. There's like 4 little interlock points in the lid, which makes the lid, it would leak water basically because of these interlocks. So I had to put some tape over those, strap it all down, and job's a carrot. And then I had to make my way over to Greytown, where I was staying for the night at the White Swan Hotel. If you're ever in New Zealand and you're heading down that way, sort of Masterton, Carterton, you'll pass through Greytown just south of Carterton. And if you need somewhere to stay, I cannot recommend a better place. It is awesome. They've got a really nice restaurant on site, really good food. And the rooms, especially the rooms that are integral to the pub, the restaurant area, those rooms are all like boutique. They're all different styles. Really, really well done. It's a nice place to stay, must admit. And I'll be back there again in a few weeks, I think, when I go back down to do some more dealer visits down there. Simon Rawle has bid $3 for the magazines. Good man, Simon. $3 guess. Anybody else? 200 craft magazines. I think the oldest ones are about 1999 or something. I think the first one was. I can't remember. Mrs. Mechanic instantly went through all the magazines and spread them all out over the lounge floor to try and sort them all out and put them into date order and work out what she got, because there were a few different types, a few different brands of magazine, I suppose you'd call them. Kevin, don't you get sick of all the traveling? That's a very, very good question. And yeah, sometimes you do, mate. I luckily for my employer, I really like driving. I don't mind driving. I like to get around, see what's going on in New Zealand. There's usually some kind of catastrophe going on somewhere at the moment, whether it's trains, pylons falling down because people undo too many bolts when they're cleaning them up. That took out the whole of the Northland power supply. That was rather an embarrassment. You might have seen that on the news. So ferries, there was a train that I think got derailed somewhere as well. Another Kiwi Rail problem. And of course, natural disasters as well. And I was driving over near Napier on my way home, and there's a back road that you can cut the corner and not have to go through Napier, and it cuts out the first 20 or 30 kilometres of the State Highway 5, which is always a good thing. And it takes you through the countryside. And there was a village, say village, it's only a small place, although they had a pub. Didn't go there, but I found a pub, which I'll go to next time. There was a bridge that basically joins the village onto one of the roads out of the village, one of the main roads out. Quite a substantial bridge, and it wasn't there anymore. No, Cyclone Gabriel saw to that. There was a tremendous amount of rain over in that area of New Zealand earlier in the year, and that bridge got washed away. Vicarage Lane, I believe it's called. If you want to Google it, go onto Google Maps. Vicarage Lane near Napier, and you can see there's lots of photos on Google as well of the bridge gone and what the bridge used to look like. And that particular route that took me cut the corner and not go through Napier went right way back. The GPS tried to take me over the bridge. That's how stupid it was. It didn't realise the bridge had gone. So I pulled in, and of course no bridge. So I thought I'll take some photos. And then I went round the other. I had to do a divert and then come back round through the village itself. And it was only a very short detour, maybe a kilometre if that, to pop in to go and look at the bridge the non-bridge from the other side, the other riverbank. So it was quite a cool part of the trip. It sort of gave me a little chance to have a bit of a wander around and get some fresh air between my drives, between driving. The power of that river must have been absolutely phenomenal, because the road height above where the normal river height was, and I mean the river was actually partly in flood when I was there anyway, was a good probably 15-20 meters. So you can imagine how much water would have been thundering down that river to take the bridge out. Absolutely phenomenal. Are they going to get a new bridge? Yes, there was some construction work going on, but they really hadn't done very much at that point in time. Probably just the planning stage. So who knows? It could be years and years before that bridge gets rebuilt. So yeah, Kevin, I do get a bit sick of driving sometimes. The long trips, especially the one that I've just done to the South Island, I sort of treat it more like a mission, really. The days tend to roll in, into one. It's quite busy because I've still got my normal duties to try and accomplish as well as visits. Some days you've got to do 2 visits, just because of the logistics of the whole thing. You end up doing 2 visits in a day, and it takes at least 3 hours on site. It's very rare that I'm below 3 hours uh, to complete a visit, all the things that I have to get done. Um, some days are only one visit per day. And on those days, I tend to be a lot more relaxed. Sometimes I'll be on site. I mean, Christ, I was on site 4.5 hours at one dealership because there was so much to get done. Plus, it made it a bit more relaxing. You could just enjoy the catching up with the uh, the staff at the site and get everything done and make sure that everything's as it should be before I leave. Because there's lots of little things that need tidying up, lots of checks to do, a bit of an audit to do on certain bits and pieces as well. They have a diagnostic tool that I have to check it's all working properly and it's all updated and things. So there's quite a bit. Any new staff, we have to do profiles. So they've got access to the portal and things. So yeah, it's pretty full on. But I've got into a good routine over the years. And then obviously when I'm not doing visits, I'm either driving, and then I've also got all the emails that flood through every day from the rest of the network needing assistance. Many missed calls. I don't answer my phone when I'm doing a visit. That's their time, nobody else's, and that's important. Otherwise, you get pulled away all the time, and you never get everything done. So you just don't answer your phone at all. The rest of the network know that when they can't get me on the phone, they'll just email me, and I'll deal with that on an evening. So I'm busy doing emails first thing in the morning, and usually quite late at night, trying to keep on top of the communication and keep everybody, give everybody the information that they need. Just try and keep things rolling along. If you fall behind, it can become a nightmare. So it is quite tiring. You don't get a lot of time to yourself. Even weekends. Well, as you know, after the live stream, on both the 2 Sundays that I was away, I did some driving. Um, I mean, the last Sunday after we left Christchurch, I had to drive all the way over to Nelson, which was basically from Christchurch to Nelson, including a couple of very short stops, is about a 6 hour drive. So it's quite a long way to go. But the scenery is great. The weather wasn't too bad. Although I don't mind adverse weather at all. It makes the driving more interesting in some respects. And I'm always looking for alternative routes as well. You don't always want to go on the main road. It's good as someone that has to travel around New Zealand by vehicle, by car. It's good to know the road network. It's good to know alternatives. If a main highway gets closed, and they do get closed on a regular basis, the only divert that the authorities give you is usually a very long way around. Whereas in actual fact, there can often be gravel roads and small tarmac roads, which they don't want to promote to the mass of vehicles, the volume of traffic. But if you know where they are, you can often whittle your way through and pop out to where you need to be and then carry on. So it's good for me to know those routes. It can save the day sometimes. It really can. Now, where do we get to? Igor Zdebroskis. Hi there. Seems like I'm late. Funny guy. I was nearly late this morning. Scott has bid $20, as has Wade as well. $20. $20 for 200 magazines. Still sounds pretty cheap, doesn't it? I'll tell you in a second. Kevin, I'd miss me shed too much. Yeah, I do. I do miss being in the workshop. I've got a stack of things to get done. When Ben said, "Oh, can you do this for us?" and he had given me forewarning. He said, "I've got a job for you to do." He didn't tell me what it was. I'd already planned to do some filming and other bits and pieces, but I thought, hey, it doesn't matter. It's not a problem. I need to help Ben. He needs my help. He's going to eat. Otherwise, he'll get stressed out. It was a different project, one that I hadn't, really planned on doing. But it was just, assess what needs to be done, come up with a design that's going to work. Pretty basic, but I wanted to make it right. I didn't want it to be a bodge. And then implement and fabricate the pieces up. And it all it was like a little challenge, like a puzzle, basically, and it all went really well. The key component was finding some clamps which would clamp the bushes on the axle, these rotating bushes that run on bearings, the nylon bushes, almost like bobbins, really, rotating bobbins. Very similar, actually, to what you fit to the rear of a motorcycle for your paddock stand at the back. You screw them into the swing arm. Similar sort of thing, but made of like a polypropylene type of bush. as opposed to being metal. I had a couple of clamps in the drawer that I thought might work. They were just a fraction too big, wouldn't close up enough. So I wandered off down the garden and found some handlebar clamps from the boneyard, as we call it now, where all the scrap bikes are down there. I say scrap, I mean, you know, they're there. Who knows what was going to happen to them? They're just down the garden. So they've proved their worth again and given me some parts that I needed. So yeah, it is difficult being away, but then again, I've got 9 days at home after I come back from Sydney, so I'll be able to get lots of filming done. I've got loads of things planned. Mrs. Mechanic is away most days. Ben's not here. He's with his mum, and even Marmite is going away for a few days. So you know, I will be literally all on my own. So what better time to do some filming? Connor K, 1.5 degree list on the inclinometer is nothing usually, but it is a roll on, roll off ferry. It is, and considering recent events, well, exactly. They wanted to make damn sure that they weren't going to sink that one, right? Or have any problems that might end up in the newspaper. They'll have been given strict orders. Simon, the pie has pinged. It has. We'll go and get the pie. Simon says, love the freeze frame data on that tool. Tells a story you don't get from the customer. It does. And we've recently been able to get access more information that's not even on the freeze frame data. So if you ride one of those bikes, behave yourself. Otherwise it might bite you. Okay, let's go get this pie. Turn you around. 3, 2, 1. Boom. There we go. What time are we on? Oh, we've only got 15 minutes left. What the hell? Andy rambles on. Okay, so we have the pie. Oh, it's nice and warm in there. Shut the door. Dum, 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 dum. Right, we'll stick it on there because it's pretty much the only clean thing in this workshop at the moment. There we are. Right, turn you around. Boom. I can't believe how quickly the time is flying this morning, to be honest. Before I know it, I'll be driving up to Auckland. Hopefully that little jaunt around the workshop's not affected the... Oh no, I think we're okay. Right, quick slip of coffee. Oh, Igor Dabrowskis. Fixed the problem with the diaphragm for now. One of the plastic pins had lost its hat and it become loose. Drilled both out and put some rivets and a drip of RTV on the hats. Good man. So all 4 carbs are working as they should do now. Well done, matey. We had a hunch. RTV and carbs, no, it won't last very long because the petrol will dissolve it. But the theory was there, wasn't it? The you know, the will. At least you've identified what the problem really was, and that's what you thought it was to start off with. So you've proved the concept, but you will need to buy new parts. Okay, the pie. This is, for those that have just joined us, Oxford pies. Yes, they're still in business, although it looks a very different style packet now. So somebody's obviously bought them out. A nacho beef and cheese. It says here, big taste and big size. So we will find out. It is quite weighty. I don't know if it gives us a weight. Does it give us a weight? I don't see a weight on there, actually. No, it doesn't give us a weight. I would say it's about 200. Oh, there we are. Down the bottom, 220 grams. So it is above average in size. 200 grams is about the average size for a New Zealand pie. Okay, so nacho beef. I'm taking that's going to be spicy, right? Could be a problem on the plane later on. Okay, here we go. I am so hungry. Mrs. Mechanic did sweet and sour chicken with rice last night, and I was still a bit hungry, so we decided to have cheese and biscuits afterwards. That was really nice too. But I was, obviously, still hungry this morning though. Right, there you go. You need to see the inside, don't you? So it's doing okay. Structural integrity is a little bit wibbly wobbly, and we've got a crack just developing down the side, which popped up as soon as I bit into it. I didn't see that earlier on. Oh. It probably isn't that hot, but it's really hot compared to the temperature of the workshop. I goes, the RTVs is for insurance, just peace of mind. It'll end up going somewhere else. Simon, seen RTV dissolve and make a right mess of the jets and the float ball. Ooh. I goes, yes, all cars work good now. Should change the spark wires, but after gathering HT leads, after gathering info, either they do not change or are somehow glued into the coils. Many of the Japanese ones are. They're not replaceable. Well, I've seen a couple of videos on people that have replaced them. It's an absolute ball ache of a job. Don't do it. You'll compromise the insulation. It'll be a nightmare, and you'll probably give up. You're probably better off. I mean, are they actually have the HT leads actually failed? You know, you could, if you run the bike up and get your test light, put your little clip to ground, and run the test light probe along the HT lead across its full length while the bike's running. If the insulation's compromised, it will then break through the insulation and jump to the test light and short to ground, and that cylinder will drop off. Do that test before you consider replacing the HT leads, because they might be okay. Obviously, do a visual check as well. But it's really good to hear that you've fixed the carbs, even though it's only that RTV really wants taking out, to be honest. I think Simon's right. You know, if it ends up migrating down, it will cause you all sorts of problems. Okay. Andy's just eating this pie because he's hungry. We need to score it, don't we? Okay. So taste, stroke, flavour. It's not over spicy. I'm not a real, fan of real spicy foods. So that's good news. I was a bit unsure actually how spicy this one was going to be. It's nice and warm though, but it's cooling down really quick. So taste, stroke, flavour of the contents. This is not the pastry. This is what's inside the pastry. It's actually not bad. It's not bad at all. I'm going to give it do I give it an 8? I'm going to give it an 8. It's actually pretty good. Structure stroke Foley partners. We are starting to get a bit compromised, but it is hanging in there. But I wouldn't say it's a one-handed pie. I think we'd be rolling the dice if we just went with one hand to hold this pie. Okay. We'll score that one a bit further down. Now, runnability. Are you ready? Give it a fair crack. I think it's going to flow. I think we're going to have a problem. So 45 degrees, 30 seconds. That's definitely moving, and we're not quite at 45 degrees yet. You're busy on the phone to your mate. You're not watching your pie. Remember, it's got cheese in there, which acts as a lubricant when it's warm, when it's really hot. It's getting close. I might have to do. Are we at 30 seconds yet? Do you think? Is that just hanging in there? Whoa! I'm not letting that drop. Okay, so that was a really good demonstration of why that test is so important. Runnability. I wouldn't call that a pass. If you were busy talking and moving arms around, that would have fallen off a lot sooner. So I'm going to give it a 6. I think 6 is being pretty good. It's not an instant fail, and it did hang in there for a good sort of 15 seconds before it started to move. Meat quality. It's more of a mince than it is a steak, to be fair. It's lots of little tiny bits, but that's okay. As a result, given the flavouring as well, it's quite hard to tell on the quality of the meat, but no gristle as yet. So let's give them, obviously these scores are always open to change during the test, the review. I'm going to give it a 6 for meat quality. I think it's okay. It's not bad. Right, contents to pastry ratio. Well, oh my word. If you look at that, we've got It's not too bad on the crimp points where the lid joins the base. The base itself is very thin, and the lid is actually quite thin as well, really. I mean, the base is probably about 4mm thick pastry, so it's doing pretty well, actually. Okay. So, and there is quite a lot of contents, to be fair. If I just lift the lid back up again, you see it's not bad. It's not bad at all, really. We've seen a lot worse than that. So, I'll give it an 8. I think 8 is jumping out at me on that one. Now, availability stroke logistics. This came from Pack and Save supermarket in Taupo. I picked this up on my way home on Thursday night after staying alive on the 5 and popping into Taupo. There are many Pack and Save supermarkets here in New Zealand, and you can order online. So, and obviously they're available around the South Island as well in various dairies and stuff. Oxford pies were made down there. I think they still are. Does it stay on there? No. Oh! Yes! There you go. So this is now made in Hamilton. Oxford pies were made in the South Island, so there has been a change. Made in Hamilton. Okay, so they just bought the name. Very good. Kept the name going. Different manufacturer altogether now, different factory. But they are pretty available. I'm going to give them, you buy them online, plenty of supermarkets, I'm going to give them an 8. Pastry taste rating. Okay, so we're going to mutilate the pie a bit now. Oh, first burp. That was the puff pastry. Oh, that's quite dry. That was very dry. Try another bit. Okay. Pastry's all right. I'm going to give it, I'll give it a 5. I would say it's middle of the road for the pastry. Still tasty when cold. Don't know yet, but it is getting cold really quick. Packaging design. Okay, well, it is a perforated pack, so it can go in a pie warmer and stay hot until you buy it, which means you can eat it straight away. And that's done for the dairies, the corner shops and stuff that sell them. This was cold at Pack and Save. Quite a lot of thought got into the packaging. It's got a little window on there so you can see the pie, which I think is quite important. It's very distinctive. They are colour-coded, so the orange one relates to the nacho beef and cheese. So you can grab the one that you want straight away without having to read the front. Quite, identifiable. And there's a lot of information on the back as well. Plus the window runs down the back so you can see the base of the pie. So you can honestly, you can't fully inspect the pie, but you get a pretty good idea what you're buying. So there's quite a bit of work gone into that, actually. I like the logo, the new style. Oxford pies used to be very traditional graphics and logo. They're trying to spruce it up and drag it into the 21st century. Oh, and they also tell you how to cook it and everything as well. So, not bad, very informative. They give you all the ingredients and so on. So, packaging design, very good. I'm going to give them a 9 for that one. Okay, we're going to eat some more because it is starting to fall apart. Look at that. Cheese. I do like cheese. Recyclable score. There is nothing. Oh, there we are. Keep New Zealand clean. Dispose of thoughtfully. It's not recyclable. They tell you to put it in the bin. It's not recyclable. It's plastic. So they get. I'll give them a 1 because they said that you got to put it in the bin. Nobody will read that. You've got to put it in the bin. Now, just out of interest, they give you a personal guarantee. Can I read this? It's a bit crinkly. We are proud of our products. If they do not live up to your expectations, we want to know. Please keep the bag, and remember where and when they were purchased. We can be contacted on the following. So I've got all the different contact details there. So, okay. They want to know if you're not happy. Bit of customer feedback, which is always good. Okay. We're getting there. Right. Post-pie heartburn. We've had 1 burp so far, so it's down to 9. A stuffability score, not there yet. Now, pie server attractiveness. Pack and Save is well known for not being the most pleasant environment to go shopping. It's more of a stack 'em high, sell 'em cheap, although it's not that cheap these days. But the young lady on the counter, she was very helpful. You know, happy, talkative, obviously enjoyed her job. I felt, you know, as welcome as you could do in a Pack and Save. And obviously she spent a bit of time on her appearance. I'm going to give her an 8. I think she did quite well there. I'll probably get that in the neck from Mrs. Mechanic later on, but anyway. Now, let's crack on. We've only got a couple more. Structure Foley partners. Okay. It wasn't great. It's required a bit of management to keep this thing together. I'm going to give it a 7. Yeah, we'll give it a 7. 7's fair. Still tasty when cold. I wouldn't say it would be great. Sorry, had a mouthful of pie. Still tasty when cold. If you find it in your glove box 2 days later, would you eat it? Probably would, but it would taste a bit weird with the spiciness. I'm going to give it a 6. I'll give it a 6. I think 6 is fair. Stuffability, we don't know. Let's find out. That was a big mouthful. Okay. We've got many, many comments. How do I feel? Do I feel stuffed? Yeah, pretty stuffed actually. Overstuffed? No, about right, because I was quite hungry this morning. So it is subjective. Not understuffed, not overstuffed. 10. They get a 10. That was bang on, was that? And it was actually quite tasty. I quite enjoyed that pie. In fact, I did enjoy that pie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All the scores are in. Let's have a tally up. Turn you around. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Okay, this is where you get to check my arithmetic. I seem to have quite a good hit rate on adding things up correctly. Either that or you can't be bothered to tell me if I'm wrong. Who knows? Okay, 15, 21, 27, 35, 43, 48, 54, 63, 64, 73, 83, 91. However, that's gone down to an 8, so it's 90. I just burped again. Okay, so we got, oh my word, just burped again. 7. 89. There you go, 89. That works, doesn't it? Just lost a couple of points last second there. Right, so Oxford pies. Are we on camera? We are. Nacho. Beef. And cheese. And that was 89. And what was the most memorable part of it? We like to put a little note at the top, don't we? What was really, as regards the pie itself? It was actually quite tasty. Quite tasty. Which was surprising. I was preparing myself for one that I wasn't going to like. And it surprised me. It proved wrong. Okay, stick you back up there again. Let's go and see where we are on the board. The board of many, many pies. I know, I do this for you guys. 89. See, 89 isn't the world's best score, is it? It's already on door number 2. On Lily's door. There we go. 89. And it was going to get 91, so it would have been right down there. But instead, it's there. And there's a lot of pies that get sort of scores around the 89, 90, 91, 92 mark. There's quite a cluster around that area. You see Oxford pies there, look, steak and cheese, 220 gram, 88. So it did better than the steak and cheese. Wow. That's impressive. You can tell how old some of these are because they're all covered in spray paint and stuff around the workshop. Morning, Lily. Right, back to the bench. We're running out of time. Andy's got to get to the airport. Turning around, 3, 2, 1. Boom. Okay, it's probably not even level. Oh, my word. It's so cold in here. Okay, so we've done the pie. That was actually pretty good. I feel better now. I've woken up a little bit. So we've got one last cigarette left. And a tiny bit of coffee. And we're running over time. Holy shit, I'm in so much trouble. Okay, we'll do the cigarette and then we'll sign off. Otherwise, I'm going to miss that flight. And I can't miss that flight. That would be a big problem. Okay, many comments to do. Let's have a rush through. Right, Connor K. Your UK tools video. Good idea. Modify the small wrench to replace the direction select lever on the lathe. Build it the way it should have been made originally. Yeah, it's a little plastic switch. It's already on its second one. They're not very good. When the first one broke, it was only a quick bodge. I found a little 1/4-inch drive T-bar and a socket, and I managed to hammer it onto the shaft. Basically force it onto the shaft to keep the switch working. And it felt real nice to be turning a metal lever rather than a piece of plastic, you know. So I want to reinstate that. So that'll happen at some point when I get around to it. Thank you, Connor. Neil, yo from Manchester, UK. Good morning, Neil. 2015999. Welcome to the workshop, mate. Don't recognise your name, so you must be the first time you've visited. So great to have you on board. Thank you very much. Pete Woodfine. Hope you enjoyed, by the way. Pete Woodfine. Hi, Andy and crew. Good morning, Pete. Welcome back. Philippa B. Hi from England. Good morning, Philippa. Whereabouts in England are you from? I originated from York originally. Simon Rawl. That snap-on screwdriver in the box videos, can you warranty to New Zealand? Good test of how good the snap-on warranty is. We should try that. We should. When I'm back in Auckland, I'll try and find a snap-on place that I can go to. They're normally just reps, so I might have to track a rep down somewhere and do a meet. But I'm also keen, a bit of a double-edged sword here, because I did see a post where somebody got a toolbox replaced under warranty with snap-on because of corrosion. And my snap-on toolbox it's got a couple of problems. It's got some corrosion down the bottom. It's lost all the paint. It's pretty rough down the bottom end. And one of the drawers, the slider's given up as well. Now, whether the slider's covered or not, I don't know. But the other hand is, I quite like that toolbox because it's the one that I bought many years ago. So just being given a new one and them taking that one away, I feel like I'm losing something. So I'm tempted. I just want to keep it. It does the job, and it's history, and it's very old, and it cost me a lot of money at the time. So I think we'll just try the screwdriver. I don't want to get rid of the box. The box is me. It's mine. It tells a huge story, just like the tools in the toolboxes, in the ammo boxes did. Now then. I goes the Roskis. Oh my word, all sorts going on. The RTV on the upper side of the diaphragm. Does it get gas up there under the diaphragm lid? If so, I remove it. Just asking. Oh, hang on. There's somebody on the door. Bear with me. Hang on a minute. Oh my word. Thanks, honey. I got a fresh coffee. Woohoo! Sorry, Colin. You're cold down. Right. Got to be quick. Got to be quick because I'm going to run out of time because it's pretty tight this morning. I suppose in theory it shouldn't, but I'm sure that there will be some air-fuel mixture will leak through and it won't need much. Neil, best pipes in Manchester or Leeds? Or best pies in Manchester or Leeds? I don't know. I didn't really eat pies when I was in England. It was small sausage rolls. Thomas the Baker's sausage rolls was my favourite. Maybe Simon can help with that one. Wade. Listening in while working on the car. Perfect. It took 3 reorders and a 4-hour drive, but I finally have the solenoid pack I was lamating about last week. Hopefully the install is less of an ordeal. Holy crap. 3 reorders. That's ridiculous. And 4-hour drive to go and get it. That's mental. Well, good luck doing the install. Simon had a failed data tool immobilizer to remove on a Honda last week. The customer's face when the immobilizer was in the floor and his bike was running in under 10 minutes. We don't need that. Job done. Igor Zdabarovskis. I suspect the HT leads because the bike is popping from time to time. Plugs are new, valves freshly adjusted. Okay, so you could do the test light test. Pretty simple. If you haven't got a test light, just get a bit of wire, strip both ends, put one end down to ground, and then hold the other end with a pair of pliers probably, and just run it along the HT leads, and it'll find any kind of points of poor insulation, along that HT lead. Oh my word, there's still more. Many, many more. Neil, that's not a pie. It's a puff pastry thing. That's pretty common for pies here in New Zealand, to be fair. They seem to be addicted to this puff pastry on the top. Pete Woodfine. If it's Nacho's cheese, then whose is it? I don't know. I have no idea. Vijayant. Have a safe journey and come back home safely. I will do my very best. I'm not a fan of flights, especially long-haul flights. I say it's long-haul to me, right, to Sydney. It's 3.5 to 4 hour flight. There's going to be a screaming kid, right? There is. So I need to take take duct tape and zip ties, then I'll probably get arrested. So I can't take that. But there'll be a screaming child. There always is a screaming child on a plane, and they're usually quite close to me, and it winds that crap up. Honestly, it just does my head in. I like to sleep. I'm very good. In fact, I fell asleep once on a flight to Queenstown holding a cup of coffee, and I woke up holding the cup of coffee. How cool is that? That's dedication for you. I was tired. I was really tired that day. Pete Curran. What's your boss? Been a while. Hey up, Pete. It has, no doubt. Welcome back, sir. Good to have you on board and in my cold workshop this morning. Simon, Igor Roskis, if you just get a new part, then the job is right. Correct. Igor's. Simon, that is the idea. The fix is just for the time while the new one is found and received. Excellent. That's what I like to hear. Connor K, click the like and go to the airport. Yes, click the like, people. I'm 15 minutes late. Simon, if you don't have a test light, spray the HTLs with water. Not brake cleaner, just water. Good idea, Simon. Silence is golden, duct tape is silver. Yeah. Excellent. I goes the Rossies. Okay, we'll try. I have a few of them of the test lights. How good? That is another question. Well, we'll wait and see. Okay, crew. It is time for me to sign off. I've got to get to Auckland and get on that plane. I might, although I won't have my laptop with me, so it might be a bit more difficult, but I might do a live stream from Sydney for you. It'll be a bespoke one. There'll be no warning. It'll just pop up. It won't be in the morning. It won't be during the day. It'll be on an evening Sydney time, whatever that is, wherever you are in the world. So be prepared. There might be one. I'm taking an Andy Mechanic shirt and I've got my cap with me, so I can do a live stream. Who knows? We might have one from Sydney somewhere, wherever I end up, probably the hotel or somewhere nearby. There is a pub, I think, just down the road, so maybe from there. Okay, crew, thank you very much for watching, and I really appreciate all your support. It's been a great chat this morning. Sorry it's a bit rushed, but we got there in the end. Oh, another burp. That's 88, isn't it? All right, crew, see you around. Cheers. Over and out. Oh, my word.